The party breached the Wardstone chamber in the heart of the Gray Garrison, stepping into a sweltering, oppressive heat. Inside, they found the last surviving fragment of the cadaverous Wardstone, trapped in a barbed iron cage pulsing with a dying white light. Guarding it was a fractured, desperate trio. Durandu, a fanatical, fiendish minotaur loyal only to Baphomet, a vermlet demon draped in the husk of Kandra Syrian, and Jesslyn, a corrupted half-elf oracle who realized too late that she had been abandoned by her demonic masters. The battle was, I wish I could say brutal and unforgiving, but it wasn't that. You steamrolled them, as you blinded them all, you sons of bitches. They're all laid dead now, though. But the victory is incomplete. The Wardstone fragment still sits in the cage, intact and humming. The Rod of Cancellation remains unused in Mazir's belt. The ritual to destroy the stone has not yet begun. And then, cutting through the heavy silence of the dungeon, came a sound that made the stone itself vibrate. A low rhythmic chanting rising from the lower levels of the garrison, growing louder with every passing second. Dozens of voices unified in terrible devotion. Areelu. The master at the feast has arrived. She is in the building, and the Wardstone is still whole. What do you do?
Oh, God.
Mazir, use the rod. Use your rod, Mazir.
Well, all right.
Takes his pants off.
Prepare your rod, Mazir.
Oh, God, not that one. Nah.
Mazir, do you have used magic item?
I do.
Oh, you came prepared.
Get on my level. So, I imagine Mazir is kind of thinking that, but he's also probably kind of holding his head because of this oppressive weight in this room.
That droning in the back of your head at the base of your skull, emanating between you and Zalek.
Are we destroying this thing?
Can I make some kind of check, perhaps like Arcana on this Wardstone, like
Lick it.
just to see, like,
Do you touch it?
do I touch it?
Yeah. Just like a little graze of the finger?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It vibrates against the touch, but it doesn't burn you.
Okay.
Give me a knowledge arcana check.
Okay. Priest, will we give you some guidance, perhaps?
Slap him on the ass. I got you.
Give me a little help.
Get in there, sport.
I want a big. Ooh, this is gonna be
Get out there and be somebody.
big plus. Okay. That is a 28.
It's pretty good. Nothing arcane within the Wardstone at all.
Oh.
Completely the divine energy that is way beyond anything you've ever encountered before. And Nevia looks at you, Mazir, and says, "What are you waiting for? This is why we came here. And every second Areelu approaches closer. We already might be out of time, but we need to destroy it before she arrives."
Isn't this what's protecting us from the demons teleporting in?
Until Areelu has her way with it. Corrupts it to her own means. Perhaps you are forgetting why we are here. We are not saving ourselves. We are saving the other Wardstones. You all knew this was a possibility of a suicide mission coming in here. You have to act quickly, now.
Do it, Mazir.
Are there like I assume we're at the top. Are there like windows outside?
No, not a single window in this room. But just that.
We hear it, right? Yeah.
So, by the way, Corso is getting very tense. Whatever we need to do it now, and we need to leave.
You need to destroy it, Mazir. Now.
She has the point, Mazir. We here.
I pull out the rod.
Ooh.
Cancellation. Look around. This is it, right?
Do it.
A poke.
You reach through the barbed wires and you tap the top of the Rod of Cancellation to the ward stone.
Mm-hmm.
And for a second, nothing happens. Because the ward stone gets a will save.
Wait, what? Wait, what? That's so
Wait.
That's so
Wait.
random.
Don't roll that yet. Should I give it disadvantage?
What if? I don't know.
It's your token.
What is it? I can't imagine it has a very high will save. It's a fucking stone.
Made by the gods.
Oh, well. It's up to you. It's your token.
Do we know what the DC?
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
It could be.
What if the rod has like a 40 DC and we're just sweating it for nothing?
Okay, this thing is designed to be like. Is designed for this, right? It's designed to like obliterate a intensely magical item. Like
They could have already been messing with it though.
It's up to you, buddy.
Mechanically, I have the caster level of the Rod of Cancellation. And I know what the will save is for the ward stone. Would any of you guys know the caster level? No. It's beyond you guys at this level at least. Now, for most objects, even magical, the Rod of Cancellation work, not even a roll. It would just destroy the item or rid it of its magical properties. But the ward stone is beyond a normal magical item. It has the presence or the lingering essence of the gods in them. Specifically one of them.
I wonder which one. How interesting.
Maybe you should then.
Drop my dice.
That's
Uh-oh.
But it's not big white, so I'm okay.
that's why I
Oh,
gave
God,
you
right.
That's why I gave you the rod, Mazir.
Yes!
It's your decision.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, Mazir's already touched it.
3, 2, 1.
Did you use it?
No.
Okay.
My
For a
token.
second, the rod pushes against the last fragment of the ward stone. And with a small zoom, your hand is repelled backwards.
Oh. Hit it again.
Hit it again, Mazir.
Go again! But just as you start to do that, the chanting outside reaches a fever pitch, vibrating through the stone floor beneath your feet. Areelu! Areelu! And suddenly, the heavy iron door behind you groans open. Areelu Vorla stands in the threshold.
What?
No.
She is flanked by a towering, shadowy host of abyssal horrors. Her eyes lock instantly onto the wardstone. She opens her mouth to speak, pointing at Mazir, her voice beginning to form a word of absolute command. I'm gonna roll that will save again.
Wait, I think you might need to use it.
Hold on, whoa.
Wait.
Wait, no. Forming a word of absolute command.
use a
I mean, you're
token.
gonna fail this will save, right?
Do I give the token?
You have a 5% chance of passing it. Let me put it that way. Because natural 20s always pass on saving
yeah, it
throws.
saves.
I'm using a token of inspiration to give you disadvantage.
Give me disadvantage on the will
I think we
save.
probably need that because Areelu's gonna command your.
I'm using white and red.
She's probably.
Nobody look at the box.
What if she says command smile? Like, you know.
She's a high level caster, I believe.
I don't think it's absolute command as in I do one thing. I think it's
Like domination.
I am hers.
And she starts to speak the word kill. But Mazir doesn't wait. You step forward, gripping the rod of cancellation, and drive it directly into the barbed iron of the cage. And for a fraction of a second, there is absolute silence. Whoa, that was good time. I didn't even do that. That was incredible. The chanting stops. The breathing stops. Then, the dam breaks. The wardstone fragment detonates. It is not an explosion of fire, but of pure blinding golden light. A deafening triumphant chord of an angelic choir erupts in the chamber, so loud it takes the breath from your lungs. Hundreds of razor-sharp shards of holy stone spray outward in a violent storm, instantly shredding the iron cage to splinters, and miraculously none of them hit you. The holy shockwave hits the room, and the abyssal corruption cannot withstand it. The golden light washes over Durandu and the Vermlick, and in a single blinding flash, they are utterly disintegrated. All that remains is a pile of fine gray ash and a glowing great axe. Areelu is caught in the blast. The light tears into her form. You hear the sickening wet crack of breaking bones as the holy energy violently shreds the bat-like wings from her back. Whoa! She is hurled backward into the hallway, swallowed by the shadows. She is too ancient, too powerful to die here, but she is broken, and she is gone for now. And then there is Jesslyn. The light doesn't destroy her instantly, it infuses her. And for one breathtaking, impossible second, the abyssal corruption is burned away. You don't see the gray cracked skin or the gnarled bark-like horns. You see a beautiful half-elf woman. Long flowing auburn hair catching the sun, eyes the vibrant living green of spring emeralds. She is wearing a simple pristine white dress, and she is dancing barefoot in a sunlit meadow, a perfect peaceful smile on her face. It is the life she was supposed to have. And then, the vision shatters. Her skin cracks like dry earth. Tears of golden light bleed from her dead eyes, her mouth, the base of her horns. And with a final silent gasp of profound relief, she explodes from within, consumed entirely by the radiance. The chamber is silent again, save for the fading, echoing resonance of the choir. The wardstone is gone. But the light isn't done. It rushes towards each of you, a tidal wave of pure divine energy. It hits you like a physical blow, knocking you flat onto your backs. The golden radiance floods your eyes, your mind, your very soul. But as you inhale, the air tastes of liquid starlight. You feel it immediately. The deep aching bruises from so many fights with demons disappear. The torn muscle knitting together in a heartbeat. The exhaustion in the marrow of your bones is burned away, replaced by a terrifying, euphoric rush of adrenaline. The spells you thought spent surge back into your mind, sharp and perfect. The limits of your mortal vessels are straining, cracking open, making way for something vast, and then you are no longer standing in the Gray Garrison. Your consciousness is pulled upward, expanding beyond the stone walls, beyond the burning city of Canabris. You are looking down at the world wound, and you see the truth of the wardstones. They are not just rock or protection, they are a massive glowing nervous system spanning the edge of the abyss, a shattered constellation of holy light. And the Canabris fragment, the plug in the dam, has just been shattered. Across the hundreds of miles of the border, the other wardstones violently flare in response. The energy of a century of protection rips away from the earth, rushing across the sky like rivers of golden fire, pouring back into the void that you have created, into you. But as the distant stones flare, they unleash one final devastating wave of holy wrath. In the blinding flash of a dying stone in Ice Rift Castle, you see the silhouette of a shield maiden bracing behind a splintered kite shield. A towering demon raises its blade to strike her down, but the stone erupts. A shockwave of pure golden light washes over the battlefield. The demon shrieks, its corrupted flesh blistering and dissolving into ash in an instant. In the flare of a stone in Erosian, an archer draws a bow of white ash, his Mendavian tabard soaked in black ichor, surrounded by a closing ring of howling horrors. Then the light breaks. The horde is caught in the blast, blinded and broken, scattering in a panicked, chaotic retreat back towards the abyssal rifts. And in the fading light of a stone near Shutterwood, a bloody cleric raises a holy symbol to the sky, bracing for the final blow from a swarm of shadows. But the blow never comes. The golden tide surges outward, obliterating the encroaching darkness. The attacks along the border instantly cease. The surviving demons, burned and terrified by the sudden, overwhelming radiance, flee screaming into the depths of the world wound. They do not witness the stones fade to cold, dead rock. They only feel the surge. As the light recedes, each of these desperate, nameless souls catches a single falling spark of gold. They gasp. For a fraction of a second, they glow with the same blinding light that now fills your veins. The stones go dark, but those distant souls are left standing in the sudden, miraculous silence, forever changed. The rivers of light collapse inward, pulling you back into the chamber, tethering you to the people standing beside you. You are all suspended in the same radiant current, but the light knows you. It finds the unique shape of your soul, and it fills the hollows. Azarian, the gold light does not feel foreign to you. It feels like a memory. It sinks into your veins and finds the celestial blood of your ASMR heritage, and it sings. The light resonates with your divine purpose, a perfect, harmonious chord. And beside you, sharing that exact same frequency, is Anevia. As the mythic power floods into her, the blinding gold shifts. It laces with deep twilight purple and shimmering silver starlight. In the periphery of the glow, you can see the phantom delicate flutter of butterfly wings. The light of the Song of the Spears wraps around her, binding her to you, binding her to Desna, and binding her to all of you. Corso, the light forms the shape of the sword in your mind. It carries the martial tenets of Iomade, the righteous fury of the Inheritor, but as it settles into your chest, there is a microtone of dissonance, a shadow at the very edge of the brilliance. It is beautiful, it is powerful, but it feels like standing in a grand, echoing cathedral where a single stained glass window is missing. A hollow resonance. The power is yours, but she remains just out of sight. Mazir, the light sinks past your rage and hits something buried deep in your soul. A single dormant drop of liquid gold. A tear shed to save a boy's life. The mythic energy strikes that drop, and suddenly a massive unseen weight stirs in your chest. The noble, ancient, terrifying bravery of a gold dragon wakes up inside of you. It does not reject the darkness you have chosen. It challenges it. A war for your soul has just begun. Zalek, to a necromancer of Geb, this holy radiance should feel like an intrusion. It is disorienting, alien to the cold magic you were accustomed to, but the light slips past your defenses, traveling down into the deepest, locked corridors of your mind, and touches a door you forgot was there. It finds a buried, suffocated spark of peace, the feeling of an open sky, the breeze of a glorious land. You do not know what this feeling is, you have no memory of it. But deep down, in a place you cannot reach, your soul aches for it. It feels like freedom. And above it all, Angeg finds stillness. The chaotic rush of the ascension fades into a profound mountaintop peace. You smell the crisp bite of alpine snow, and you feel the deep resonant ancient hum of stone beneath your feet. But you are not in a cave, you feel suspended high in the clouds, looking down at the world from a fortress in the sky. The wind whips past you, carrying the echoes of the lost sky citadels. The stones support you. The sky embraces you. And for the first time in your life, looking down at the broken world below, you are home. And you are more. The golden light doesn't just heal you, it pulls you backwards. The air shifts, carrying the scent of wet earth, forged smoke, and the distant rhythmic thud of celestial war drums. You are standing in the Kite. The year is 4639. Canabras is still a small, hardy town at the bleeding edge of the world wound. At the center, sturdy stone buildings stand firm, but as your vision expands outward, you can see the reality of the Second Crusade. A bustling, desperate military encampment, Tents flap in the wind, and crowds of Sarkorian refugees are being organized, fortified, and sheltered behind newly raised palisades. But in the very center of it all, the chaos falls away into a circle of profound, resonant silence. Standing before the rough-hewn, newly erected wardstone is Queen Galfrey. But she wears no crown. Here she is not a monarch playing politics in a distant court. She is a general in the thick of the frontier. She is a striking, gorgeous woman, her light brown eyes bright with an unyielding, optimistic fire. Her long white hair seems to catch the ambient light, nearly glowing against the dark, intricately engraved breastplate that praises Iomade. A battle-worn white cloak hangs from her shoulders, and a beautiful, well-cared-for longsword rests at her hip. She carries herself with absolute, unbreakable resolve. And standing beside her, answering her call, is the hand of the inheritor. He is terrifyingly handsome, 8 feet tall, strong, dark gold skin, clad in intensely beautiful golden full plate. A golden tower shield emblazoned with the symbol Iovade rests securely on his back, and above his head a halo of razor-sharp sword-like blades spin with a low, harmonizing hum. From his shoulders erupt wings of fiery, glowing plumage, shifting between gold and orange like the wings of a phoenix. He has removed his golden helm, holding it tucked beneath his arm. His hair, the bright, vibrant color of Craspedia, flows to his shoulders, and along his neck celestial tattoos pulse with a faint, rhythmic golden light matching the beat of the war drums. Galfrey looks up at the towering angel, her voice steady but carrying the weight of the thousands of lives depending on her. The refugees pour in from Sarkoris. The demons gather at the border. Some say we are merely delaying the inevitable. What say you, Herald? The hand looks down at her, his sky-blue eyes are ancient, but his voice is warm like a harmonizing choir. I say that delay is the first victory, that hope is a weapon sharper than any blade, but hope without action is a prayer to a deaf god. Do you have the strength to turn prayer into steel, Queen Galfrey? Without a moment's hesitation, Galfrey places her hand flat against the rough surface of the wardstone. Then let this stone be our prayer, and let my sword be the answer. The hand nods with solemn, profound approval. Then it is done. And when the darkness comes, you will not stand alone. As their hands rest upon the stone together, the celestial war drums crescendo. An angelic choir swells around them, singing the exact triumphant chord you heard when the stone was destroyed. The wardstone flares with blinding pure light, anchoring the magic into the earth, sealing the pact between mortal and divine. And then the hand turns. He does not look at Galfrey. He looks out. His sky-blue eyes lock directly onto all of yours. Across the centuries, through the veil of time, there's no grand prophecy in his gaze, no declaration that you were destined for this moment, just a profound, quiet acknowledgement. A recognition of the souls who happen to be standing in the breach now, the ones who are here, holding the line when it matters. He gives a single, slow, deliberate nod. I see you. We will meet soon. The golden light shifts again, but the celestial warmth turns instantly to blistering, choking heat. The angelic choir is snuffed out, replaced by a sound that makes your skin prickle, the deafening, ravenous roar of a dozen massive fires. The air goes thick with the stench of burning pitch, scorched wood, and cooking meat. You are back in the Kite. The year is 4665. The courtyard before the wardstone has been transformed into a charnel house. Bound to wooden stakes before the roaring pyres are dozens of people. They are not cultists. They are not demons. They are Sarkorian refugees in strange woven garb. Local herbalists with dirt under their fingernails. Neighbors accused by paranoid neighbors. The crowd gathered to watch is massive, but the silence is suffocating. No one cheers, no one weeps aloud. Thousands of people hold their breath, terrified that a single sob will draw the Inquisitor's eye. And then a voice cuts through the crackle of the flames, rough and gravelly, carrying the cold, convicted confidence that brooks absolutely no doubt. Azarian, that voice hits you like a physical blow. It doesn't fill you with fear, but it instantly drags you back to the memory of your own trial. You remember the weight of his gaze, the absolute unyielding certainty of the man who judged you. Standing beside the largest pyre is a young man of only 20, Horan Shapak. He wears the rigid, unyielding vestments of Abadar, the god of law and cities, but as he speaks, he looks up at the wardstone and invokes a different god. There is no malice in his eyes, no sadistic joy in his smile, and that is what makes him so terrifying. He truly, deeply believes he is doing holy work. He raises his voice, rough and commanding, echoing off the stone walls. The abyss does not only batter our gates, he shouts to the silent crowd. It seeps into our cracks. It festers in the doubts of the unfaithful. He paces before the bound, weeping civilians. Queen Galfrey asks us to hold the line, but how can we hold the line when the rot is already inside the fortress? By the absolute, unyielding law of the vault, we must be the scalpel. And in the name of the inheritor, we must burn away the shadow so that the light may remain pure. To win the war outside, we must first win the war within. Let these fires be the crucible that forges our salvation. He lowers his torch. The oil catches. The screams begin, tearing through the suffocating silence of the crowd. But Holrun does not flinch. He does not look away. He watches the flames rise. His face bathed in the harsh orange glow, utterly convinced that with every innocent life he extinguishes, the crusade grows one step closer to victory. This is the spark that ignites the Third Crusade, a holy war baptized in the blood of the innocent, led by a man who believes he is its savior. The suffocating smoke of Holrun's pyres dissolves, replaced by the cool, crisp evening air of Canaveras. The year is now 4692. The golden light pulls you all directly into Azarian's memory. You stand beside him in the quiet courtyard of the Kite, the last few rays of sunset slipping away. You hear his voice, but it isn't the rough, hardened tone of the Inquisitor you know today. It is younger, anxious. Asteria, something isn't right about Hibner, he says, pacing slightly. This mission, this secrecy, the way he looks at the wardstone. My gut is screaming at me. It feels wrong. Standing before him is his wife. She's wrapping a beautiful royal purple shawl around her shoulders to ward off the evening chill, and in her arms is their daughter, 13 months old, Reva. She has her mother's human features, but when she looks up at her father, her irises catch the twilight. They are the exact same luminous gold of Azarian's eyes. Asteria steps into his space, stopping his pacing. She looks up at him with absolutely unwavering trust. Then trust your gut, my love, she says softly. I trust you. Whatever you decide, we are with you. You all stand beside Azarian, feeling the heavy, anxious heartbeat of a 21-year-old man. He is young, and he is also broke. If this were the grizzled, scarred Inquisitor sitting at the table today, he would have grabbed his family and fled to the night without a second thought, but this boy needs the coin. He needs the rank. So he suppresses his instincts. He chooses to follow orders. Asteria reaches up, her hand gently cupping his cheek. As she touches him, the silver band on her hand catches the fading light, and the stars on her finger shine extra bright. Desna is watching over you, she whispers, a promise in the dark. She will protect you. Azarian leans into her touch, closing his eyes for just a second to memorize the warmth of her hand. Then he kneels down. Little Reva reaches out, her tiny hands grabbing his face. Azarian smiles, a wide, genuine smile you have rarely seen on his face. Hey, baby bird, he murmurs, his voice thick with affection. You know Papa loves you, right? More than the sky and more than the earth. She babbles happily, gripping his finger. Azarian leans in, pressing his forehead against her, and whispers in the celestial tongue of his blood, Fia Unra, have a good dream tonight. A gruff voice calls out from the Wardstone Plaza, Major Lee Hibner. Azarian kisses his wife, stands, and walks towards the ritual. You all follow in his footsteps. You feel his unease. The squad forms a circle around the Wardstone. Hibner begins to chant, claiming it will reinforce the holy barrier. But as the magic weaves through the air, Azarian's destined senses the divine gift to perceive truth from lie begins to scream. The holy light doesn't feel like starlight, it feels like rot. It tastes like copper and ash in the back of your throat. The harmony of the ritual is a lie. It isn't reinforcing the stone, it is unraveling it. Azarian's eyes go wide. He breaks formation. Stop, he screams, his voice tearing through the courtyard. Hibner stops it, but he is a fraction of a second too late. Above them, the sky shatters like black glass. Lightning, thick and violent, strikes the kite. Kormzadeh, the Storm King, descends. The Baelor raises a sword the size of a watchtower and brings it down upon the Wardstone with a deafening, world-shaking crack. The demon's abyssal blade shatters into 1,000 shards of iron, but the Wardstone fractures. A tiny spiderweb crack that screams in the minds of everyone present. The concussive shockwave of the impact rips through the plaza, throwing crusaders to the cobblestones. High above, you see the outline of the silver dragon Terendelev descending like a comet to drive the demon away. The Fourth Crusade is born in fire and thunder. But the history of the Crusade does not matter to Azarian, not in this moment. He weathers the shockwave. He pushes himself up from the cobblestones, his golden eyes frantically scanning the chaos for a royal purple shawl. He sees them, Asteria and Reva, huddled near the archway. Azarian takes one step towards them, and then a heavy gauntleted hand swings out of the smoke. Major Lee Hibner strikes him in the back of the skull, a coward's blow. Azarian always believed the Baelor's shockwave knocked him out, but the golden light of the Wardstone burns away the forgotten truth. You feel the wet, sickening crack of Hibner's betrayal. You fall to the mud, your vision blurs, swimming in blood and rain. You try to reach out, you try to scream, but the last thing you see as the darkness pulls you under is the hem of Asteria's royal purple shawl being dragged away into the shadows. The cold mud of Azarian's memory violently snaps into the chaotic ringing clash of steel. The year is now 4712. The Fourth Crusade is on the brink of collapse and Canabras is bleeding. You are thrust into a desperate, sprinting chase through the cobblestone streets of the Kite. Bursting in the courtyard of the Wardstone are two paladins, both heavily armored but both bleeding out. Leading the pursuit is Erebeth, her blade a relentless arc of gold, the breath coming in ragged gasps. Retreating before her is a burly dwarf in heavy plate, Staunton Vane, commander of the Hammers of Heaven. Erebeth presses the attack. Steel rings against steel like cracked bells. Staunton parries, stepping backward to gain distance, and his shoulder slams hard against the Wardstone. The holy magic of the stone violently rejects his corrupted soul. Black smoke erupts from his armor. Staunton screams in agony, the sickening smell of searing flesh filling the courtyard. Erebeth sees the opening. She lunges, but Staunton is a veteran of 100 skirmishes. He drops low, dodging her blade, and swings his warhammer in a brutal, vicious arc. The hammer shatters Erebeth's knee, crushing it backwards behind her. She goes down hard, her armor scraping violently against the cobblestones, crying out in pain. And Staunton stands over her, his chest heaving, raising the hammer for the killing blow. But Erebeth looks up at him. She doesn't close her eyes. She splits blood onto the stones. "Why, Staunton?" she demands, her voice trembling with furious betrayal. "We fought together. Why choose the abyss?" Staunton sneers, his hammer trembling in his grip. Because our leaders are cowards, Erebeth. They lack the conviction to make the hard choices. They hide behind walls and preach mercy while the world wound bleeds us dry. I watched Prelude Horan. He had the will to do what was necessary, but the rest of you will never win this war, and if the war never ends, I will never find your Murden. He looks down at her, eyes burning with a dark, twisted fanaticism. The demons have the power to end this stalemate. Baphomet has the will to shatter the board completely. I choose the side that has the strength to win. He raises his warhammer high, and Erebeth braces for the end. An arrow flies out of the gloom, burying itself deep into Staunton's bicep. The dwarf roars, stumbling backwards, his grip on the hammer faltering, then failing as the hammer hits the ground. Anevia, standing in the Gray Garrison with you right now in this shared experience, doesn't say a word, but you see her knuckles turn white as she grips her short swords in the present. She remembers the shaking of her hands that day. She remembers the terror of knowing that if she had missed that shot by a single inch, she would be alone now. Staunton rips the arrow from his arm and lets out a shrill, piercing whistle. And then you feel it. You feel it in your head. You feel it vibrating in your sternum before you actually hear it. A deep, resonant drone like the low, vibrating moan of 1,000 damned souls trapped in a collapsing cavern. It induces a sudden wave of nausea, accompanied by intrusive, whispering thoughts of betrayal and self-loathing. Descending from the night sky is Vrext, a hell wasp, the size of a warhorse. Its segmented body is a nightmare of glossy obsidian black chitin, marbled with pulsing veins of molten crimson and sickly sulfur yellow. It looks wet, perpetually coated in a thin layer of boiling ichor that hisses and smokes as it drips onto the holy cobblestones. Its compound eyes glow with malevolent inner fire, shifting between burning amber and bloodshot scarlet. As its four translucent wings unfold, they shimmer with illusory abyssal flames that sear the soul. The stinger, a foot-long, serrated lance of blackened bone, weaves a luminous green venom that reeks of brimstone. Staunton mounts his beast. The Hellwasp's drone rises into a shrill, chittering screech layered with wet clicking and metallic scraping, like demonic laughter mixed with chains being dragged across broken glass. And with the burst of a critic sulphurous wind that blinds Anevia and the approaching Iomedean soldiers, the wasp launches into the air. Staunton Vane flees to the north, to Dresden, abandoning Canabras to its fate. The shrieking drone of the Hellwasp and the chaos of the crusade abruptly snap out of existence. The golden light cools, settling in the dim, torch-lit gloom of the very room you are standing in, the Gray Garrison, the recent past. The first thing that hits you is the smell, that cloying, sickly, sweet perfume, masking the sharp tang of blood. Standing in the center of the domed chamber is a woman. She is beautiful. A statuesque Lilitu with flawless, luminous pale skin and elegant goat-like horns curling back from her temples. Where her eyes should be, there is only smooth, unbroken skin, yet you can feel her gaze discerning every weakness in the room. Her long serpentine tail sways in a lazy, hypnotic rhythm, the barbed tip twitching with amusement. She moves around the heavy, glowing fragment of the wardstone, her cloven hooves making soft, deliberate clicks against the stone floor. She wears flowing silks of deep crimson and black adorned with stolen Mendavian relics and the inverted labyrinth motifs of Baphomet. And cowering near the pedestal, looking utterly out of her depth, is Jesslyn. Monago trails a clawed, elegant finger along the rough iron of the pedestal. Her voice is a rich, velvety purr that drips with false affection and barely concealed cruelty. "It is too exposed, little Reaper," Monago whispers, gliding closer to Jesslyn. She leans in intimately, invading the oracle's personal space, her eyeless face tilting as if admiring her. "Oh, the Crusaders are so desperate. They might try to take it back. Use the wish I gave you. Make it a monument to their fragility. Cage it." Jesselyn's hands are shaking. She isn't doing this out of loyalty to the Abyss, or her nature, she is doing it because she is terrified of the monster standing inches from her. She raises her hands, her voice cracking as she speaks the words of command. The wish spell flares, violent and heavy, and with a deafening metallic shh, thick bars of blackened steel slam into existence around the wardstone. Cruel, inward-facing barbs sprout from the iron, sealing the holy relic inside. Minago smiles, a slow, mocking curve of her lips. Beautiful, she purrs. Now I must take a special delivery to Dresden. A valuable piece I need to tuck away from the board. A trick up my sleeve that requires a gentle hand. For now, I am so looking forward to breaking him, but patience, little Reaper, patience. Jesslyn shivers. I am leaving Durandu to keep you company, Minago continues, gesturing lazily to the massive, silent minotaur standing in the shadows. And I will weave a little illusion over the stairs to make it look like rubble to keep the rabble out. She begins to circle Jesslyn, her tail swishing playfully. But my sweet, if any of these locusts, she spits the word with utter, aristocratic disdain, are brave minago to crawl through my zombies and see through my parlor tricks, do not be afraid to kill them. Harvest them. Minago stops in front of the heavy iron door. She rests a hand on the latch, her eyeless face turning back toward the cage one last time. The playful amusement vanishes from her voice, replaced by a cold, absolute command. Do not open this door for anyone, Jesslyn. Not for the Crusaders, not for the Swarm. Only for me or Faxon, do you understand? Jesslyn nods, her throat too tight to speak. Her smile returns. Good girl. The heavy iron door swings open and Minago glides out into the hallway, leaving behind a trail of black smoke and that overpowering, sickly sweet perfume. The door slams shut with a final echoing boom. The golden light shifts one final time, pushing forward into a future that is desperately trying to happen, but the timeline feels thin and fragile, like a nightmare struggling to take root. You are looking down at the world-wound border, Canaveras, Dresden, the border forts. The Crusaders are massed by the thousands. They are packed shoulder to shoulder, shields locked, clustered tightly around their towering wardstones, waiting for the demonic siege. But out in the ash-choked plains, the demonic hordes are not charging. The Baylors and Marilis are holding their armies back. They were actively corralling the Crusaders, using skirmishers to push the defenders closer and closer to the humming wardstones. They are packing the mortals tight, herding them, keeping them exactly where they need them to be. And standing before the final intact wardstone in the kite is Areelu Vorlesh. The master of the feast towers over the relic, a horrifying monstrosity of abyssal rage. And in her grasp she holds in a hand-earing crystal the size of a human skull. It pulses with a deep, bruised purple light, sickening and heavy. And with a cruel, triumphant smile, Areelu drives the crystal directly into the heart of the wardstone. The stone doesn't just crack, it screams. A shockwave of nauseating maw fire erupts from the kite, racing across the sky and detonating simultaneously at every wardstone along the border. The fire washes over the thousands of tightly packed Crusaders, but it does not burn, it warps. The maw of light sinks into their armor and into their flesh. You hear the sickening wet sound of bones snapping and reforming. Holy steel fuses directly into expanding, mutated muscle. Crusaders drop their weapons, clawing at their own faces as their jaws unhinge and split. Halos of divine light choke into clouds of abyssal smoke. Men and women who dedicated their lives to the Inheritor fall to their knees, their screams shifting pitch, deepening the guttural roaring hunger of the damned. And in a matter of seconds, the vanguard of the crusade is gone. In their place stands an army of half-fiends, their eyes burning with fire, turning their newly mutated claws toward their uncorrupted brothers. And out in the plains, the demonic hordes finally charge, cheering, rushing forward to embrace their new recruitments. The trap was perfect. Pack them tight, detonate the stone, instantly multiply the army. The same fire rushes towards you, ready to warp your newly mythic flesh. But it hits the empty, shattered iron cage in the center of the room. It hits the space where the wardstone used to be. The timeline shatters like glass. The fire dissolves into harmless golden dust, and the screams of the mutating crusaders fade into the echoing silence of the Gray Garrison. The nightmare collapses in on itself, starved of the fuel it needed to exist. Look around this room and look at each other. Areelu's grand design, the corruption of the border, the enslavement of thousands of holy knights, the end of the Mendavian Crusade, it didn't happen. Not because of an army, or not because of a queen or a herald. It didn't happen because a handful of battered, exhausted mortals kicked down the door of the Gray Garrison and fought through the dark and broke the stone before the trap could spring. The Crusades survive today because of you. The triumphant world-saving golden light of the Ascension softens. The grand sweeping chorus of the Crusade fades away, replaced by the... Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause for that. Just go for it.
Bunch of finger guns all around.
I was seeing all of them. The triumphant world-saving golden light of the Ascension softens. The grand sweeping chorus of the Crusade fades away, replaced by the gentle rhythmic chirping of crickets and the distant quiet croak of a frog. The air is cool and smells of damp earth and the faint sweet fragrance of almonds. You are pulled into a memory from long before the war, long before the betrayal, and long before the gray in your hair and the hardened lines on your face. You were running, bursting through the tree line into a hidden moonlit glade, laughing as branches whipped past you. You were breaking the rules, sneaking out under the cover of a brilliant star-filled sky and a heavy silver full moon. Beside you is Asteria. She is 18 and unfathomably gorgeous and radiant in a fine silk dress and leather boots that cost more than you made in the last 2 years. And you, Azarian, are 18, quick on your feet with a messy mop of light blonde curls and a tunic that has been patched and repatched. You were poor, reckless, and you were entirely, hopelessly in love. You reach your tree. It stands apart from the rest of the forest. A magnificent, sprawling giant. Its branches are heavy with cloud-like clusters of pink and white spring blossoms that drift down around you, both like fragrant snow. Beside it lies a small, glassy pond reflecting the starlight. You unfold a weathered, threadbare blanket beneath the branches. You lay out the picnic, half a loaf of hard bread, a wedge of sharp cheese, and a small skin of cheap, watered-down wine. You rub the back of your neck, looking at the meager spread. "I'm sorry," you say, your voice cracking slightly with youthful insecurity. "I know it's not a feast." Asteria laughs, a bright, clear sound that cuts through the night air. She kicks off her fine boots and sits on the blanket, pulling you down beside her. "It is exactly what I want," she says, tearing off a piece of bread. As you lie back, looking up at the canopy of blossoms, the reality of the world tries to creep in. "My father's guards were patrolling the perimeter," Asteria murmurs, tracing the line of your jaw. "The Baron was furious. He told me I'm forbidden from seeing a beggar, that I'm throwing my life away." You look away, the weight of the empty pockets suddenly feeling like a physical chain. "Maybe he's right, Asteria. I have nothing, no lands, no title. I don't have 2 silvers to rub together. Maybe you should listen to him. Find a man who can give you the life you deserve, a roof over your head, safety at..." Asteria shifts, leaning over you, blocking out the moonlight. Her eyes are entirely serious. "I don't care about his roofs. I don't care about his gold. I don't need a roof over my head, Azarian. I would spend every night of the rest of my life sleeping under the stars, in the mud and in the cold, as long as I am under them with you." She leans down and you kiss her. It is desperate and passionate, full of the reckless, beautiful optimism of youth. When you break apart, you scramble to your knees, you look up through the pink blossoms at the vast starry sky, and you take a breath. You don't have a ring, you don't have a future, but you have faith. You speak aloud, your voice earnest, slightly comical in its nervousness, but vibrating with absolute sincerity. Lady of the Stars, I know I have nothing to offer in trade. I have empty pockets and patched clothes, but I love her. I need some help. For a moment, there is only the sound of the pond, and then a single iridescent butterfly flutters down from the canopy. Its wings catch the moonlight, shimmering with deep twilight purple and silver. It lands gently on your outstretched finger. You smile, and your eyes go wide with wonder. You gently lower your hand to Asteria, guiding the butterfly onto her left ring finger. It flutters there for a heartbeat, releasing a soft, warm pulse of starlight before dissolving into the night air. Where it rested, a band of tiny glowing stars remains, etched gently into her skin. You look into her eyes, your heart in your throat. I don't have the gold for a ring, you whispered, but will you marry me? Asteria's eyes fill with happy tears. She doesn't say a word, she just nods fiercely before pulling you back down onto the blanket for a long, breathless kiss. The pink blossoms continue to fall like snow around you, and as you hold her, the vision slowly pans up, leaving the blanket, leaving the tree, rising higher and higher into the vast, endless canopy of destined stars, until the stars fade into the cold gray stone of the Gray Garrison ceiling. Azaria and the phantom scent of almond blossoms lingers in the cold air for just a second before fading away. The mythic power hums in your veins. You are savior of the border. Your right hand feels the steady grip of your star knife, but your left hand now glows with the light of a star that wasn't there before, and you can feel it. Somewhere in your soul, she is still alive, somewhere.